dance for joy or lust or anger, and every time you have.
Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews, the series where we look at practical and sensible cars that you can buy for between £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 2016 Hyundai ix20 1.4 Premium, but is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So the Hyundai ix20 was introduced in 2010. It's the rebadged sister of the Kia Venga, although Hyundai claim that they substantially re-engineered the car for their own use. That meant, greater refinement apparently, better ride comfort, that kind of stuff. You'd have to actually drive a Venga and an ix20 back to back to be able to tell the difference. I can't tell an awful lot of difference. I think this car rides a little bit softer than the Venga, but then again, these came with a shorter warranty than the Kia, so you pay your money and you take your choice, I suppose. There were only two engines that we can discuss really available. This 1.4 with 89 horsepower and a 1.6 with 123 horsepower. Generally, the 1.6 was only available with an automatic gearbox. It was originally a 4-speed, then it was increased, I think, to either a 5 or 6-speed when the car was facelifted in 2015. Very similar to the Venga, which had the same engines and gearboxes. Right at the end of ix20 production, when the trim levels were revised still further, we'll talk about those in a second. There was also a 6-speed manual available for the ix20, which will probably be my preference. That car does 0 to 60 in about 10.5 seconds and gets about 43 miles per gallon according to the old NEDC cycle driving figures. This 1.4 with a 5-speed manual, which is the only transmission available, did 0 to 60 in 12.4 seconds and apparently achieved 50 miles per gallon, which is good. This particular model would be particularly economical because it has a stop-start system in it, which I'm sure you can turn off if you don't want it, but I tend to leave those on. What's really strange is that this actually has about 10 less horsepower than the i20 first generation that this car is very heavily based on, and indeed my friend who I sourced this car for earlier this month actually had one of those. You would have seen it on Sensible Secondhand Reviews in 2021, and she did over 200,000 miles in that car. It was on about 150 or 160 when I filmed it, and she'd had it for years, and the only reason that she got rid of it was because the car needed a new airbag module and it needed a clutch, and it was far more than the car was worth to actually put those in. So went for something very, very similar, which is this. These actually, bizarrely, are cheaper than the second generation i20s that they ran alongside from 2014 to 2019. The trim levels available in one of these started off as classic, active and style. When the car was facelifted in 2015, all the trim levels were actually dropped and they were replaced with SE and premium trim. This is a premium, and then right at the end of production between 2018 and 19, the premium was upgraded to premium now, and that is, in my opinion, the one to go for. Well, viewers, we're back in the same location once again, about 2.5 years later, with another Hyundai based on the first generation i20 platform. I'm afraid this car is in some daily use. There hasn't been time to clean it before I've taken it out. My friend's been busy today, but it does to show you what it looks like anyway when somebody does very high mileage. I think the last car she had actually had 213,000 miles on the clock, and these cars do take the miles. They take them very well. So this particular car's got parking sensors on the back, which is good. Nice and easy to lift up tailgate. Also got an adjustable boot floor in here, which has a little tray in the bottom. Take this out. You can see we've actually got a space saver spare wheel at the bottom of there. You know, it doesn't look very impressive if you have that boot floor in the up position, but if you lower it down, it becomes incredibly practical. There's 440 litres of space. It's an awful lot more than a first generation i20, for example. An awful lot more. So yes, you know, from the practical side of things, this is Sensible Secondhand Reviews after all. It is incredibly practical, and there are two handles either side of the inside of the boot to pull it down. Doesn't matter what side of the road you're on, you can still get that. Incredibly easy to get in and out. As you can see, we've got some nice diamond cut alloy wheels on this car as well. Materials aren't, you know, possibly the plushest. I would prefer a little bit of fabric in here rather than hard plastic, but they are better than the first generation i20. Incredibly easy to get in and out. It's no problem. The only thing I would say is that if you're looking at something like a Citroen C3 Picasso, then you'll find that there's no tray tables in this particular car, which one of those would have. Also, one really annoying thing about this is this sunshade. Now, you can pull it all the way back, but if you're the driver and you want to pull that back, you have to actually get in the back to do it. So you can only pull it from about there, which is annoying. But this panoramic roof is really nice. The only thing is, as you probably noticed when I was driving earlier on, the roof rattles a bit. I asked them to fix that before my client picked the car up, which they haven't done, which is annoying. Viewers. But yes, so we've got an armrest here. I don't normally use those. I've pulled it out of the way like this. We've got an enormous storage bin down there, huge storage bin, and we've got even more storage here. Big cup holders, mat pockets, got rear door bins with this funny kind of sort of pattern on the speakers, which I think is common to all ix20s as far as I remember. We've also got this seat which should move. There we go, look. You can slide the rear bench back and forth, which is really handy if you want more boot space or you want more space for passengers. See, this thing actually comes down from the ceiling. You can unclip that. I mean, I might, if it were me, I would maybe sort of unclip that and sort of re-put it in, but you know, never mind. Masses of headroom, little lights in here, adjustable height seat belts. There's a reason I've sourced so many of these cars for clients, both the Kia and the Hyundai versions, and they're just so practical for so many people. Right, let's get in the front. I like chrome door handles on this trim. So we got power folding mirrors in here, two automatic up and down electric windows. You can turn the stop start on and off if some of you really want to do that. It doesn't fuss me too much. This isn't quite the top of the range because we've still got some blanking plates in here. and we got no sat nav. There was a model with sat nav as well, which would have had a redesigned center console. But it's very easy. Look how big these buttons are for doing the heating and ventilation. It's almost sort of idiot-proof, really. The steering wheel, I don't think looks particularly nice for some reason. I think it looks a bit old-fashioned in 2016 Hyundai, but that's just my opinion. The later ones have nicer steering wheels than Hyundais. So I only got a 5-speed manual. Bizarrely, the 2012 i20 that I found out before this, it had a 6-speed with the same engine, but this engine's actually detuned to 89 horsepower, whereas that had about 100 horsepower. And in the i30 that we drove on Sensible Secondhand Reviews at the end of last year, that had 109 horsepower. Again, the same 1.4 Gamma engine. So I really don't know, viewers, what Hyundai were up to, because this car, you know, it's nippy enough, but an extra sort of 10 horsepower, even 20 horsepower would be welcome. Let's see if my secret mission documents actually fit in the glove box. Well, they would do if there wasn't all that stuff in there, I'm sure. I've actually got little other compartments and bits and pieces in here, and a little shelf up there. I think that's supposed to hide the manual. Very, very big door bins. You can put a bottle in the front of there. Materials, they're very, very hard wearing. I mean, they standard of build is high. It's just they don't feel particularly premium, but it's a family car. Does that matter? Lever up steering wheel is nice though, although even if the design's a bit old-fashioned. We've got 12-volt socket, aux in and USB, all three down there. We've even got another 12-volt socket down there as well. All these cup holders, normal handbrake, thank goodness. And control there for the electric sunroof. We'll try that in a second, because I'm going to need another hand to sort of switch things around. Radio, again, really, really simple. The instruments glow blue at night as opposed to the Kia Venga, which glows sort of red or orange. Automatic lights in this car. I can't remember if those are automatic wipers. They might be. I can't remember at the moment. No cruise control on this one. The model I'd go for personally is a 1.6 premium nav, where for the last kind of year or so that this car was on sale in this country, you got a 6-speed manual in one of these with 123 brake horsepower engine and sat nav, which is nice. Anyway, I think we'll have a look under the bonnet, shall we? So this is the 1.4 Gamma engine, in this case developing 89 horsepower. Quite easy to get to stuff, really. The engine's sort of canted over slightly to the back, which is interesting. Coolant is there. Oil. Filler cap is there, and the dipstick. Really not much you're going to need to do under here anyway. These cars have an excellent reputation for reliability. These engines are very, very strong. They're a chain engine. They don't normally go wrong. Sometimes the chains do fail, but it's rare. It's not particularly common for that to happen. This facelifted model does look a bit different from the pre-facelift one. It looks a lot better in my opinion with this new grille and just some minor changes to the lights and things. But that's, you know, superficial really. The engineering is the same whichever you go for, whether an earlier or a later one. Right, I think it's time to go for another drive, viewers. Lloyd Vehicle Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below. So in terms of how this car drives, it's very, very easy to drive. The driving position is good. You sit quite high, which some people really like, particularly in a family car. That's considered to be an advantage by many people. It's not the fastest thing. I prefer the 109 brake horsepower version of this engine that was in the first generation i30, but never mind. Also, I prefer the 1.6 manual version that was very rare, that came right at the end, because I had a 6-speed gearbox. But I've driven a lot of automatic ones of these. That's really a very common one, and I would urge you, if you want to go for one of these cars with an automatic gearbox, whether it's a Venga or an ix20, to go for the facelifted one with the 5 or 6 speed auto as opposed to 4 speed auto in the earlier ones. Levels of refinement are pretty good. You do get a bit of wind noise from these sort of big pillars and things like that, but it's not too bad. Yeah, it's very comfortable, and you know, there's really not much else to sort of say about the driving experience of this car. It's exactly how you'd expect. It's quite refined. It's very comfortable. It's very easy. The steering is light. It actually handles a little bit better than you might expect a car like this that's quite tall and based on, you know, relatively humble Super Mini underpinnings to do so. But you know, the average person who wants a car like this, and there have been quite a lot because I've sourced you know, 5 or 6 of these, doesn't really mind if it's not the last one in dynamism. That's not really what it's about at all. It's about reaching your destination in comfort and knowing that everything's going to be alright. So viewers, should you consider a Hyundai ix20 with your hard-earned budget of between £1,000 and £5,000? Well, believe it or not, in my work sourcing cars for people, this is the most common type of car that I've actually sourced. This and the Kia Venga, I really consider them to be one model because they were built on the same production line in the Czech Republic together. And they are really, really good. Maybe not to everyone's taste. I mean, some people will take one look at the styling and think that's really not for me. And the interior is quite plain. It's not really the most exciting thing I've ever seen, but this is an everyday car really for most people, and they just get on with the job without making any fuss. The engines are very reliable on the whole if you keep them serviced. There's lots of space. They actually drive quite nicely with this type of car. Yes, I quite like them. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching this episode of Sensible Secondhand Reviews. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we shall see you again soon for more reasonably priced motoring.